Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 2020 My Team Career Mode, episode number 32 today for the French Grand Prix in Season 2. If you guys did miss the previous one at Canada, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. A very chaotic one with some rain and our DRS getting stuck open and to that point, talking about car reliability and car issues, I asked you guys in the last episode to vote on where we should spend our money next in the HQs, you know, what department. It's been a while since I've done a vote like that, and we've got a decent amount of money. You know, we need about, roughly 8 or 9 million to re-sign Sainz once his contract's up, but we've got well over double that now, so we can definitely spend some funds, but I really just didn't know where to put it, so I thought I'd put it to you guys, and you guys have voted for the durability department. Obviously a place where I've not invested too much. I've actually done a lot of resource point generation upgrades there, actually 3 tiers of them, but we've not done anything on the kind of fabrication, build time, and the quality control. And obviously, since we haven't done, these upgrades are very cheap, in comparison to spending 10 million on, the aero, chassis, or engine. These are like, 1 million, 2 million for the fabrication there. So we can actually probably get a few of these and still have a decent amount of money to go. But that's where you guys have thought we should invest the money. So as you guys are my board of directors, we will obviously agree upon that, and we'll spend that money as you're about to see. We'll go ahead and buy all 3 of them, fabrication, build time, and quality control, because like I said, all combined are still cheaper than one upgrade of Spec 3 level or Spec 2 level on the kind of performance HQ part. And to that effect also, we're going to continue that on towards the R&D side of things. Not just spending the money on the HQ, but also spending the R&D points. I talked about the DRS getting stuck open again, and maybe that's, a little foible with our car. There's no mechanic in the game to, improve the durability to stop things like that happening, but obviously I don't know, in the background there might be just a general, if the car is more durable, maybe those things won't occur, because there were a few of you guys in the comments below saying that, I complain about that, but I don't improve the durability of the car, but I kind of, also doubt there's a mechanic in the game where it kind of sees that there's a lack of durability upgrades on the car, and it makes, the rare event of a DRS getting stuck open more common. I feel like they would kind of almost tell you that was a mechanic, in the background potentially. So, but anyway, even if it's not, or if it is, we're going to go ahead and invest in that side of the tree. We're going to go through the activity timeline there. You can see doing some simulator training for Sainz to make sure he's trained up, because it's been, I think, 2 episodes since we did a last bit of teammate training there through the week, but we go through and get all 3 of those upgrades on. I thought I'd wait till those upgrades come through to actually buy any upgrades, because of course makes sense then to actually use the lower build time and the quality control and whatnot. So in terms of what we're going to upgrade on the car, well, we've already got one general durability upgrade. We've got a internal combustion engine upgrade, a minor one that is, and then we do have some you can see in the bottom the shinier ones that Honda have brought for the engine as well. So the Honda have been helping us quite a fair bit to actually keep it quite okay. But obviously last season we did have at least one race where we took engine penalties, and our teammate at the time did have to take some, and of course Sainz has already taken one this season for a 10th place one. I don't know what it was for, but he took a 10th place penalty. So looking at what parts are wearing out the most, it looks like it's going to be the turbocharger and also the MGUK. Now unfortunately in the tree I don't have the MGUK available to upgrade in terms of the durability. We have done the turbocharger, the minor upgrade on the left, and I'm going to go ahead and do the major internal combustion engine as well, because obviously that's the biggest factor in the entire engine, and to be fair, that was also wearing quite a fair bit all of last season, and even this one in that first column. So we'll go for those 2 upgrades. They will take some time, of course, because we don't have the HQ as highly upgraded as everything else, and it is a major upgrade on the internal combustion engine, so that'll take, maybe 2-3 races to come in, and so we'll just kind of see how things progress. Right now, going into France, looking at the R&D chart, we're still in P2 though, so that's pretty good. Red Bull have upgraded finally to now go ahead of Ferrari technically on paper, and you can see McLaren Racing Bull and AlphaTauri converging pretty much on each other. AlphaTauri apparently slipping down lower than McLaren Racing Point, but we've seen time and time again how good Perez and Gasly have been in that junior Red Bull car, but we've not seen too much from McLaren or Racing Point as of late, so we'll see if they do any better at France. But it's good to see for everyone, not just me, that Mercedes are plateauing, because it means the season gets closer and closer, the fighting gets better, and so hopefully, we just get more action galore. We were fighting Vettel last race for the race lead, the Ferrari car. The two Mercs weren't really there, so it is already getting quite exciting in terms of it's not just us versus Mercedes, it's not just a Mercedes whitewash, it's going to be hopefully a good fight for the rest of the season. You never know. Obviously, last episode we saw, very surprisingly, we're going to lead the championship. So up till now, I haven't thought we were in the fight, but never say never in F1, and, we take it race by race, and we'll just see where we are at the end of the season. But I didn't think we were going to be in a fight for the title in Season 2, to be completely honest. But the car's just come a long, long way. We've obviously been a great pairing, myself and Sainz, in terms of the constructors as well. So if it all goes well, we could even be challenging Mercedes in the constructors, let alone just ourselves as an individual in the Drivers' Championship. But we move forward then into Q1. You can see having a bit of a hard time on the curb there. We're on a set of medium tyres, because I thought we'd just go out there to set a banker lap, because France has always been quite difficult. The AI are very good in this last sector, especially compared to myself, and also the combination of me just being very slow through there. First and second sector, though, very good. In terms of the setup, I've compromised it a little bit. We're running 5.5 wings, which maybe is not enough for our car, because obviously that's the only area in performance terms where our car is lacking, is just pure downforce. So maybe I would have gone a little bit better in this last sector had I run higher wings, but I wanted to make sure we're good in a straight line for the race as well. And as you can see, in the end, had to go to a set of soft tyres, couldn't make it through on mediums. It was a woeful lap really on mediums, but we gained well over a second on the softs to go P11. Sainz, though, looking very, very quick, so maybe our car is strong here, and maybe he might have a chance for pole position. Could we speed up a little bit and get to grips with the last sector? I don't know. And another spanner in the work is, as you can clearly see, it's a lot darker now in Q2, as the rain is going to come down just at the end of this session. So I went out straight away at the start of Q2 to try and get this lap time in, because other people will maybe, hopefully, get caught out, some of our rivals, and it'll make our life easier at the start of the Grand Prix. But if we get through into Q3 now, that'll be job done for us with this lap, as it is very, very, very overcast indeed. And as we go on through, unfortunately, one of those people that might get caught out is our teammate Sainz. He was fastest of all in Q1, but at the end of Q2, he is knocked out. P11, he only set one lap, as did everyone pretty much, because it did start raining at the end of Q2, but he's out. P11, although I will say, if you remember to last season, this may not be that bad. This actually might be 200 IQ play from Sainz, because he gets to now start on whatever tyre he wants. He can start on the mediums, a fresh set of mediums for tomorrow's race, and do a one-stop from the highest position you can do that from. So he actually might be in a very good way. I might actually be in a worse position than he is, making it through to the top 10 shootout. So we'll see. That could come back to bite us in a kind of weird way. It's kind of odd to say that making it through to the top 10 is a bad thing, but that's how kind of OP and powerful the one-stop can be, especially at a track like this at France, where the two-stop, these soft tyres really don't go the distance. They wear out so quickly. And so we are in the top 10. We can't do anything about that. We just have to do the best job we can now, qualifying as high as we can. And obviously the higher we go, the better chances we have maybe of trying to counteract those one-stoppers. At the moment, skating through, a little bit sliding through those corners. Purple first sector, a few thousandths faster than we did on that first lap time. And you can see down the straight, losing a little bit of time for some reason. Second sector, green, we're literally only just better than we did on that first lap. Sector 3, though, is where I'm losing all the time. We're about 6/10 down on the pole position time, I feel, and we're losing all of that in the last sector. Just don't have the confidence, and I just don't know the right lines and the break points, really, to be honest. I need to do some more practice around this circuit for sure in the last sector. And you can see, as we go towards the line, we're basically gaining like 1,000th, if that, of a second, basically, to cross the line. It's P5 at the bottom there, but by the time we come through to the final results, for some reason, I think other people set their lap times just at the very dead of the session. We're pushed down to P7. Verstappen, though, is the one on pole position. Leclerc in second. For the first time, we've not got a Mercedes car on the front row. So, as I said, the R&D shot, not wrong. Things are a lot closer now in this season as other people improve, and Mercedes plateau with that kind of diminished returns as it is in the R&D chart. So Hamilton and Bottas lock out the second row. Norris in a pretty decent P6. Gasly out-qualifies me in the AlphaTauri, so that's a little bit embarrassing in terms of that's how bad we were in the last sector. So for sure, I think we have a lot more to show in the race, and like I said, with lower wings, I'm confident in a straight line we're going to be mullering some of these guys in the first and second sector, but the big question mark is going to be that strategy call. How long can we take the softs, and will the two-stop work out for us? Do we have the pace for it to work out, and how far can Sainz take that from P11? Let's go to the grid and answer all those questions.
Welcome along then to France, host of the world-famous Tour de France. But we're not talking two wheels today, we're talking four, in a country widely thought of as giving birth to the art of motor racing back in the late 1800s. We've come a long way since then, and you're about to find out how far. It's time for the French Grand Prix. 6 lefts and 9 rights give us a total of 15 corners here at the circuit Paul Ricard, and a lap covers an overall distance of 3.6 miles. Average speeds will be somewhere in the region of 142 miles per hour, and they'll be maxing out on the Mistral Straight at around 205 miles per hour. Now, Anthony Davidson, I wonder, might we be in for some early pit stops today from the midfield teams, all trying to put some pressure on or disrupting things for the leaders up front?
If you're in the middle of the pack, you got your own race to run. I don't think they're going to be thinking about causing trouble up front. However, closer to the head of the pack, don't be surprised to see some split strategies. If you're running second and third, for example, bringing one car in for an undercut while leaving the other one out there longer can put a lot of pressure on the leader and maybe force them into an error.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he starts from pole position. And it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Hamilton, Bottas, Lando Norris, and Gasly, the owner driver, Kvyat, Stroll, and Sergio Perez, Sainz, Vettel, Esteban Ocon, and Albon, Ricciardo, Matsushita, George Russell, and Kevin Magnussen, Giovinazzi, Grosjean, Latifi, and Jack Aitken. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
So strategy-wise, like I said, we're going to be locked into that two-stop as the soft tyres don't go that long, pitting around lap number 7 and then onto 2 sets of medium tyres. I'm still looking forward to what we can do. Obviously, it's going to be a very punchy, aggressive strategy, which I always love in the F1 game, so plenty of overtakes maybe to make at the end of this, but I think Sainz and others are going to have a real big advantage, like we did in Season 1 of jumping cars, so that's going to be the thing to watch at the end in terms of the final race result. But let's get into this then. The French Grand Prix from P7 on the grid. Verstappen on pole, Leclerc second place, no Mercedes on the front row for the first time in a while. 5 red lights are out, and we're underway here at Paul Ricard. It's a good start compared to Gasly, but into turn 1 is going to be a different story as Norris blocks off the left-hand side. Leclerc goes around the outside to take the lead of the Grand Prix. We get pinched in and play a little bit of ping-pong on the sides with Gasly and Norris there as Gasly squeezes out the Brit. We're trying to overtake Gasly on the inside down the hill. Very fine though on the left-hand side, having to give him this space as we go from left to right again through this double right-hander, try and squeeze him out here on the curb a little bit, get the rear end stepping out awkwardly as it's very off-camber this right as we slingshot then on to the main straight. But this is where we can flex the muscles of our best engine on the grid, the overtake mode being able to use plenty in this race, I'm sure, just like we did at Canada, and we're able to try and pull away as Gasly goes very defensive against the McLaren behind us, but we're able to push away. But it takes us 3 further laps, lap number 4 this is, to finally catch up to the guys at the top. But as it stands, it's Leclerc and the Ferrari in first place, Verstappen second, and you can clearly see Hamilton and Bottas third and fourth respectively, still in the same position as they were in qualifying. So Mercedes definitely have lost some pace compared to everyone else there. Those two up front are looking a lot quicker as now Bottas goes to the move on Hamilton round the outside. That's quite important for the championship fight between these two. Obviously, Hamilton had some decent luck in the last few races with Bottas going down the order, but here we are now attacking both Mercedes cars potentially in one go as we look to overtake Hamilton round the outside and Bottas as well through the flat-out right-hander. Overtake mode used plenty, cut across to the apex, and we've just made a double pass on the silver arrows. That would have been unheard of at the start of this season, let alone even maybe a couple of races ago. But there, having the pace, these two very slow. Bottas tries to get me back down the inside at the very awkward left-hander where I definitely lose a lot of time to the AI, but he's unable to do it. And we move through to lap number 5 then. Like I said, early pit stop, these tyres wearing out. Leclerc's in, Verstappen continues on, but I thought we'd just come in because I'm feeling the tyres, and the Mercedes car behind me, I think that's Bottas, yeah, it was pressurising me, so I thought, let's pit in, get onto fresh rubber before we kind of basically get re-overtaken by those guys. But Leclerc already made his pit stop and is right behind me down the pit lane, so him and Verstappen are very much in a world of their own right now, which is kind of surprising because I thought, you know, obviously Mercedes are still technically the best team on the grid in terms of the R&D chart. So I'm surprised at how slow they are compared to the Ferrari and Red Bull. But now this is where things get interesting because we've all made our first stop, and obviously you've got a load of people now doing a one stop, a la these Williams cars right ahead of me of Aitken and Latifi. But up ahead, you know, Sainz now, you know, once Verstappen pits, he pretty much will take the lead of the race, I feel, and he's in control of that because he's got one more stop to make. We've all got one more stop to make. So at the moment, Sainz will be in a very good position, but we overtake Aitken with ease there and try to get Latifi round the outside. Obviously, he's on the medium tyres, but we've got the advantage of being on fresher mediums now. But we now push on to try and chase after, well, this man Leclerc, who's making some moves now, getting through the traffic of Magnussen there. And this is pretty much what we're going to have to do all race. Myself, Leclerc, Verstappen, even the two Mercs behind me. So this is the zone in the race where I can maybe get an advantage of those guys. They'll be getting stuck a little bit as we now look to overtake K-Mag in a straight line very easily with DRS, not even using too much ERS because I want to save that for later on in the lap, because up ahead I can see Verstappen and Leclerc fighting, and Verstappen has pit, he's finally pit and he's come out behind Leclerc, but these two are stuck behind the Haas, and that's actually going to allow Verstappen to go to the inside. So the two, they were the race leaders going side by side, obviously not anymore, but still for position and the right to attack the traffic first, and Verstappen gets ahead, so that Red Bull upgrades working out well. But meanwhile, as I said, up ahead, way up ahead, this is the sticks. This is where Sainz is in first place in the other aarava Archer Racing car. Vettel in second, so actually even Vettel got knocked out in Q2. I didn't actually even mention that, so my rival on circuit has got knocked out as well for that extra claim. So both those guys are in a very good position because both of them have one stop left. They're in 1 and 2, and we're back here in P12, and we also have to wait one more stop. So you can see how overpowered the one stop really is and how much work we're going to have to do to get back. I'm confident we can try and get back. I don't know as far as first place, I'm not going to lie, but let's see if we can maybe try and aim for that podium position potentially, because there was a gap from Vettel to the next car in third place. But meanwhile, as it stands right now, lap number 8, we're looking to overtake Leclerc, who's looking very slow indeed as he's tucked up behind Romain Grosjean, and we make the double pass on the Ferrari and the, I guess you could say B-Tech Ferrari in the Haas car there on the inside into Sector 3 up into P10, and now we try and hang on the back of Verstappen. You can see they're having a bit of a, well, major issue and wobble in Sector 3, then a lock up on the left-hand side. I'm still very not good at this last sector, but in the first and second, that's where we're getting all the time. So if we can just try and stick behind Verstappen as close as we can and do exactly what we're doing right here by setting a purple first and second sector and then just begging that he hits traffic just like this. I mean, look how slow he is through that right-hander in comparison to the previous lap. We're closing up in this left-hander, even though we're not going particularly quickly, I must admit. But Matsushita there in the Renault holding Verstappen up a treat. So we're now going to close up and have an opportunity to maybe overtake him if we can use the ERS off this corner, try and get the line as tight as we can, get on the power early. Then we'll have DRS as well, already using overtake mode. Rich Mix engaged, and Verstappen, even though he's got DRS, obviously we know how slow that Red Bull car is in a straight line in comparison to us. We have the more superior Honda engine. Around the outside we go, and that is up into 9th place, but that's basically first place out of the gaggle of cars that are doing a two-stop, if you know what I mean. So now we've got first dibs on attacking everyone, like you can see just here on the Renault. On the outside, that was, of that right hand, a very unorthodox place to make a pass, but such is the difference in grip levels we have compared to the Renault, who's been on those set of medium tyres since the start of this Grand Prix, up into P8, and it will soon be P7, I hope, on Giovinazzi in the first of the two Alfa Romeos. You can see Russell on the top left is in P6, so the Alfas doing a great job here, to be fair, on the one-stop to pull themselves up the order. But we're past up into P7, and now we try and push on, but we've got a 5-second gap or more to close up, so that will be easier said than done. And by the time we get to lap number 12, the gap is down to 4 seconds, so we close up a little bit. But now Sainz is in for his first pit stop, so that is it. He's going to the end now on a set of hard tyres, whereas we've obviously still got to make our stop as well. So he's definitely in the driving seat, as is, the likes of Vettel and even all the other cars, because we've got to, it's on us to go and overtake them and chase after them. And now we're also going to be hitting some tyre wear, remember, for ourselves on this 2-stop as well. So much so that on lap 16, 3 laps later, you can see Leclerc is all over the back of me. I'm so poor through these corners, let alone with some tyre wear. I'm just unable to get the momentum through to, rotate the car through the left-hander. Very much so here as Leclerc is fully down my inside with the amount of understeer we get. We're neck and neck now, and I was looking to defend here, but for some reason Leclerc pushes me, and it's actually because he wants to go into the pit lane, so I actually just jump in as well. I didn't mean to come in. I was going to go to lap 17 for the pit stop, but Leclerc was on my inside and wanted to enter the pit lane, and you can see the issue there, so I kind of got just dragged into the pit lane. But to be fair, maybe kind of good, because the tyre wear was coming through. So now we're going to go into another set of medium tyres, and now where we come out, that's where we're legit going to be. So from then on, we just have to make the most of it and just blitz it and attack and attack and attack. And actually, look at that! Great pit stop by our crew, and we've re-jumped Leclerc in the pit lane. Great pit stop there. So we're coming out in some pretty decent clean air. I think we're around P8, I think it is. So now we just try and push flat out and try and catch the cars ahead. They're all going to be full position. They're all going to the end of this race. You can see actually Verstappen has re-jumped me. He's ahead of Russell here in P6, because that's how bad I was in and then the stint. He pit earlier because he was on a set of soft tyres actually. The Red Bull looking very good in its tyre wear these days, I guess, because he went soft to medium. So fair plays if they can do that. But now I'm the one with the pace, with setting the fast lap of the Grand Prix, despite only having a purple first sector, to be fair. So I don't know what's that about. But we're now closing up to Russell, and so really jigged to the right hand side as the Brit really goes very harsh on the defence there, cuts across me. We go down the inside, he locks up on the front right, and we get the job done there. But George Russell with a very punchy defence, and I was quite shocked at that, but we get the move done up into P7, and now we look to re-overtake Verstappen, hopefully, and chase after him. But we've got 9 laps to go in this Grand Prix to do it. But here he's getting held up a bit by Alexander Albon, his former teammate, now in the Racing Point car. Yellow flags there though, up ahead, and oh, it actually might be for Verstappen, Yes, it is. So Verstappen, Red Bull calamity here at France. Looks like he's going to park up on the left-hand side there, and he's going to be out of the French Grand Prix. Such a shame for him. The pole man, he had some good pace. I think he would have fought back with us to get towards the podium slot, so a bit of a shame for him, but obviously one free position for us. And now we go chasing after Alexander Albon in the Racing Point car. You can see time and time again having a good first sector as we're so quick through there. Second sector red, but we're still pretty good in a straight line. And look at that, with the ERS usage through the right hander, able to sail it down the inside of Albon as we enter the last sector and get up into P5. And now we look to overtake Ricciardo, to be fair, in the other Red Bull car. He also was on a 1-stop here, so he was actually pretty high up. We sail past him in a straight line there. That Red Bull's really woefully slow in a straight line, up into P4 and up ahead of us. Look at that. They're not too far away, only 2 seconds to Vettel and Ocon. We've got 4 laps left. I think that might be enough, because those two are fighting as they go neck and neck, and Ocon there, you can see in the top left and just in the distance, overtakes Vettel to get up into second place of this GP. So the Frenchman, obviously one of the home favourites, we've got 3 Frenchmen on the grid, but very, very decent stuff for Ocon to be up in second place in that McLaren car. But we're looking to maybe spoil the party a little bit as we come through on Vettel, the man we fought for the race lead last episode. This time we fly by him, as obviously the 2-stop is the slower strategy in terms of if you're in the same car. But at the moment, in this moment in time, I've got the faster car, I've got the tyre wear, the difference, the advantage, and now we're looking to overtake Ocon maybe now on lap 25, and then there's a 4.7 second gap to Sainz. Now that will be pretty much impossible, I think. So I think at this stage you can say Sainz is looking very good for the race win. So it's kind of, this is the biggest experiment ever of, in the same car, you can clearly see actually getting knocked out in Q2 is the faster way to go around this circuit when you're in the same car, of course. It's a different story here with us versus everyone else, because we actually do have the pace to come back through with the 2-stop. And to be fair, like I said, I've had a lot of fun attacking the cars, as we just did there with Ocon, as we went down to the inside for another third third or fourth time in this episode. We're loving that corner to make overtakes. But as we now swing through onto the last lap of the Grand Prix, this is Vettel ruining everyone's enjoyment here at France as Vettel overtakes the Frenchman Ocon in the McLaren and gets up into P3 on the last lap of the Grand Prix. So there won't be a home favourite on the podium. Vettel up into third place. But it's, again, very nice to see my teammate and my on-track rival right now. You know, they're the ones attacking me like this and we're all together on the podium. Very nice. But this is the man of the hour, Carlos Sainz, in first place, got knocked out in Q2, started P11, done a one-stop, and he is the man with the 200 IQ genius plays today. You know, you will never know if it was on purpose, but you know what? It's worked out for him, but it's going to be his second win of this season here. He won the Dutch GP and now at the French one, and he's also going to be the second 1-2 of this season for us at Aarava Archer Racing. Great stuff there. Very fun race. Shame we couldn't get the win. I think, you know, the car in race pace terms was definitely the fastest car out there, I think. You know, forget about qualifying. We were very, very punchy, but in the end, science strategy worked out, and you can't fault it, so fair play.
Another superb French Grand Prix comes to an end, and it's a thoroughly deserved victory. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
Well, Crofty, this was won through an abundance of speed and an abundance of skillful overtakes. Inside, outside, cutting underneath, we saw it all today. And it's really nice to see a Grand Prix won in that manner. A race, surely, that will satisfy the purists today, I think.
Here comes your top three making their way down to the podium for what can only be described as a fantastic day for Formula One.
So there we have it then, Sainz's second win of this season. His third overall in his career, of course, because he won the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix in Season 1 in that very pacey McLaren at the time. But his second win for the team and our second one too. So we're looking very good these days. Mercedes had another shocking race. You know, last race, Hamilton was down in P8. Bottas scored no points. Today, look at that, they're 8th and 9th. So the R&D chart really did not lie. Things are going to get juicy for this season. We're in the lead of the championship. We extend the lead in the championship. And Sainz now is only a couple of points behind Bottas for third. So even he could get in the mix of it. And now, for the first time ever in the Constructors' Championship, we lead the way at Aarava Archer Racing. So I don't know, we're going to throw the entire, form guide out the window now? Are we in the championship fight? I don't know. I'm still so cautious because going into this entire game and series, I didn't think we were going to be here in Season 2. But I guess maybe, the progress we've made, as I said at the start of the entire game cycle, I'm always going to play this series as seriously as I can and, try and do the best job I can. I guess I've just done an insane job of upgrading the car in the right places because our car is very, very good right now and we're here to fight. But at the same time, it's nice to see that Red Bull and Ferrari are also getting up there. So it's not going to be like a case of, Mercedes were dominating and now we're going to be the ones constantly there because I still think we have weaknesses. Our car definitely doesn't have enough downforce compared to the other teams at certain areas. Sector 3, even in that race, I was pretty slow. The only thing I was saving was the straight line speed in sectors 1 and 2. So there are still areas where other teams will beat us, and obviously at other tracks where the aero is going to be way more important, maybe that's where we're going to lose out because France, it's not obviously not very similar to the Dutch GP, but it's got the advantage of being good in straight line, the banking and whatnot. So I'm still very, let's take this with a pinch of salt, take it race by race and see how we do. And speaking of race by race, we again beat Sebastian Vettel in the rivalry there. We've got 2 races remaining to see that out, to get that extra acclaim boost, but we're now up to level 14 on our personal player acclaim, and we're now 2/3 of the way there for level 19 acclaim on the team. Of course, level 20 is when we get that extra sponsor. But speaking about sponsor money, we get 1.91 million in the bank there for all the sponsors ticked off, an extra 48k, of course, at the end for the base level sponsor. So in the end of it, after spending all that money on 3 upgrades on the durability HQs, we're still back to nearly 19 million, 18.92 million. So maybe we spend some more money on the durability side of things next episode. But if you guys did enjoy that one, But guys, if you did enjoy that one, a second 1-2 for the team and a second win for Sainz this season in our team, then be sure to smash that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're new around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula One content. I've been Aaron. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the day. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.